Hey everyone, today we're going to be finding the area of rectangles with fractional and mixed number side lengths. I know I am meeting expectations when I can determine each of the side lengths of the rectangles, multiply fractions, multiply whole numbers by mixed numbers, multiply fractions by fractions, and explain what area is. Let's start with rectangle A. So rectangle A says that our measurements are 2 units by 4 units. So we're going to start by drawing a rectangle that's 2 units by 4 units. Remember, with rectangles, we have two pairs of congruent sides. So if this is 2 units, that means this is 2 units. If the bottom is 4 units, that means the top is 4 units. We can draw this or represent it with a visual model by drawing 2 units going up and down, 1 and 2, and 4 units going across, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, to find perimeter, we have to count the side lengths on the outside. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So our perimeter is 12. Instead of counting all these side lengths, another way we could do it is by adding all of the side lengths whole numbers. So we have 4 units plus 4 units because we got the top and the bottom, then 2 units plus 2 units for the left and the right. We can add these together. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 12, plus 2 is 12 units. So perimeter would be 12 units. Now we need to find the area. So we can find the area by counting the number of units inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the total number of units inside. Or what we can do is multiply the length times the width. 4 units times 2 units. So here we have 4 units times 2 units. 4 times 2 is 8. Units times units is units squared. So we have 8 units, or 8 units squared, because remember with area, multiplying units times units, so it's units squared. So our total area is 8 units squared. Let's try the next one. Here, this time we have 1/2 units by 4 units. So here we have 1/2 units times 4 units. So let's start by finding the perimeter. If this is half of a unit, that means the right is half of a unit. If the bottom is 4 units, we know the top is 4 units. So we can add 4 plus 4. I like to do whole numbers and then fractions separately. So 4 plus 4 is 8, and then 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 2 halves, or 1 whole. So we have our 8 plus our 1 from our fractions equals 9 units. So the perimeter is 9 units long. So here we can also find the area. We can multiply the length times the width. Remember, area equals length times width. So we have 4 units times half of a unit. Well, let's see. 4 times 2, so 4 is the same as 4 over 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So that's 4 halves, or 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And units times units is units squared. So our area would be 2 units squared. Just remember with this one that when we're multiplying by a whole number, to write as a fraction, it's just a whole number over 1. Let's try the next one. 3/4 times 1/2. So here we have 3/4 of a unit times 1/2 of a unit. And I'm sorry, my visual model is not completely accurate. But remember, this is 3/4 of a unit, then this is 3/4 of a unit. If the bottom is half a unit, the top is half a unit. Let's start by adding to find the perimeter. We're going to do 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. Remember, when we're adding fractions, we need to have common denominators. So we need to create equivalent fractions. 1/2, I'll change colors. 1/2 has to be rewritten so it has a denominator of 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So 1 times 2 is 2. Wherever we see 1/2, we're going to write 2/4. So we have 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 2/4, because that's where 1/2 is, plus 2/4. Now we have common denominators we can add. 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6/4, plus 2/4 is 8/4, plus 2/4 is 10/4. The numerator is bigger than the denominator, so we can rewrite that as a mixed number. 10/4 is the same as 10 divided by 4. I know that 4 times 2 is 8, and then I have 2/4 left over. So our perimeter is 2 and 2/4 units. We can also find the area with our measurements. We can multiply the length times the width. Remember, area equals length times width. So our length here is 3/4 units. We're going to be multiplying that by half of a unit. Here, we can multiply 3 times 1 to get 3, and 4 times 2 to get 8. Units times units is units squared. So our area is 3/8 units squared. Let's try the next one. We have 4 units by 2.5 units. So here, we know if this side length is 4 units, the right side is 4 units. If the bottom is 2.5 units, then the top is 2.5 units. So to find the perimeter, we can add all the side lengths. We can do 4 units plus 4 units, and 2.5 units plus 2.5 units. Let's see. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, and a half plus a half is 1 whole. 12 plus 1 is 13 units. So our perimeter is 13 units. To find the area, we would use the same measurements, but we're going to multiply. Remember, area equals length times width. So our length is 4 units times 2.5 units. All right, so we're multiplying a whole number by a mixed number. We can rewrite 2.5 in expanded form as 2 plus 1/2. And we're multiplying by 4, so we'll put 4 on this other side. Here, we're going to be multiplying 2 because it's on the top times 4 to the left, and that gets us 8. And here we're going to do 1/2 times 4, which is the same as 4/1. We have 8 plus 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 halves equals 2. 8 plus 2. So our area is 10 units squared. Remember, we get units squared because we're multiplying units times units. So here's our area and our perimeter. Let's try rectangle E. Here we're missing, they give us the area, but we're missing a side length. So we can start by drawing a visual model. We have 4 units. We don't know the width of our rectangle, but we know the area equals 22 units squared. So remember, area equals length times width. So if the area is 22 units squared, our length is 4 units, we need to find that missing width. Remember yesterday, when to try to find the missing length, you could also divide. So we could do 22 divided by 4, and our answer will be that missing width. 22 divided by 4 can be written as 22/4. And now we can rewrite that as a mixed number. 22/4, well, I know 4 times 5 gets us to 20, and I need 2/4 more to get to 22/4. So our length is going to be 5 and 2/4 units. To check our work, we can multiply, because remember this would be 5 and 2/4 units. We can multiply 4 times 5 and 2/4. 5 and 2/4 can be written in expanded form. 4 goes on the left. 4 times 5 is 20. And then 4/1 times 2/4. We have 20 plus 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. 8 fourths, or 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So 20 plus 2 is 22, which is what we had started with. So 22 units squared is our area, but our length is 5 2/4 units. Let's try one last one, rectangle F. Here we are given that one side length is 3 units, and we're missing this other side length. We can see that the area is 13 here. So what we can do is we can write our equation or our formula down. Area equals length times width, and we can fill in what we know. Area equals 15 units squared. The length is 3 units, and we're trying to figure out the width. Well, remember, to find that missing factor, we can 13 divided by 3. We can rewrite 13 divided by 3 as 13 thirds. Now I'm thinking, what can I multiply by 3 to get close to 13? That's 4. 3 times 12. We need one more to get to 13, so 4 1/3 units. So our missing length would be 4 1/3 units. We can check our work by inserting 4 1/3 units and now multiplying 3 times 4 1/3 to get 13 as our area. So here we can rewrite 4 1/3 is 14 plus 1/3. We have 3 over to the left. Is 12. 3 can be written as 3 over 1 times 1/3. So we have 12 plus 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3, which equals 1. 12 plus 1 equals 13, which is the area that we had started with. So to fill in our missing parts, our missing length would be 4 1/3 units. And now we just need to find the perimeter. Remember, to find the perimeter, we just have to add up all the side lengths. So there we go, now it's all erased. All right, so we have 4. Oops, sorry. There we go. All right, so if this is 4 1/3 units, we know the top is 4 1/3 units. If this is 3 units, we know the right is 3 units. Now let's add 4 1/3 plus 4 1/3, and we'll add 3 plus 3, which we know is 6. 4 1/3 plus 4 1/3 is 8 2/3, and now we can add 8 2/3 plus 6. Add the whole numbers. 8 plus 6 is 14, and 2/3 plus no fraction is 2/3 units. So our perimeter is 14 2/3 units. Try the rest of these on your own.